everyone. Today we're going to talk about opening slides in Google Slides. At the beginning of each class, I always like to have a slide on my projector when the students came into the classroom. This told them right away what we were going to be talking about that day, what activity we were going to be doing, or generally what was going to happen in my class each day. And in an effort to make creating this slide every day easier, I have created this video with a few ideas about how to make your opening slide. On the screen, you can see the example that I have of science. I taught science, and so every day on my Promethean board, I would have this slide put up, or one similar to this, that said science. It said the date, it said the topic for the day, maybe what they needed to start thinking about. In the lower left corner, you can see that they had clip art images of what they needed for that day. So the microscope stood for the fact that we were going to be going to the lab shortly, and the notebook stood for their science notebook that they needed to take along with them. This kind of prepped them to know what to expect once I was ready to start class. In the lower right-hand corner of the screen, you can see those red arrows, and that indicated what I wanted those students to hand in that day. So you can see questions 1 through 5 is what needed to go in. And then they needed to pick up worksheet number 11. So if we were going to the lab, it would have been my lab directions for the day, or maybe they needed, a worksheet to put a graph on, or to record their responses, or something that they needed for the lab. So I needed them to pick that up. That was done at my table in the back of my room, where they knew where to turn things in for their class and where to pick up any information that they needed to collect from me for that day. So let's dive into making one of these slides, and I will show you some tips along the way about creating your own slide. So let's go ahead and open a new Google Slide presentation. And once you open the presentation, I always start blank. I don't start with a theme. I usually clear out the boxes that they already have set for you there. Oops, it didn't go that time. Where is it? Not clearing out. There we go. Let's delete those. Now I got it. And I just like to start with a blank slide. So on this first slide, I want you to think about those parts of the slide that you want to keep the same every day. So if you remember going back to that science slide, I had an image in the back, and I used a picture of the Earth. This was for my Earth science class. So I used that clip art image. So let's create that background image, because that's something that I want to stay there and be consistent every single day. So instead of doing science this time, why don't we try a math class one for today? So I would go to Insert Image, and I'd want to search from the web. Once I go over here on the image, let's say for math, I just want to do the math signs like addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So if I search by math signs, the first one that comes up that was this one right here. That looks great. So you click on it and you click Insert. Once you insert that image into your slide, then you want to position it where you want to. So using the red lines as guidance, I am centering that piece of clip art in the center of my slide. Now, I want to change that because I don't want that bright like that every day, because I won't be able to put any text or pictures over top of it. So I will go ahead and go to Format, or you can go to right click and go to Format. Go to Format and Options, and this menu will pop up here on the side. The first thing I want to do is recolor that image. I don't want it bright colors like that. I want to recolor it just to black. So I'm going to choose that there, but the black is still rather dark. So I would like to make it a more transparent image. So if you go to Adjustments here and you drag this transparency bar over, it will have more transparency, and you can see how it adjusts each time. I think I almost always go right to the end here And I think that looks good. So that's what I would like my background image to be on my slide. Now I like to have a border on my slide, just a personal preference, but we'll put a border in. So I need to create a text box first. Remember to go this menu here, do not auto fit because we want to create the size. And then I am going to just adjust it so it is close to the edge, but not all the way up to the edge. You can also, if you are a real perfectionist, you can go ahead and size that with numbers, but visually I think that looks pretty good there. So I would like to make this border a certain color. I don't want to fill it, I just want to change the border color. So you go to this little pencil. Let's try red here. And so it makes it red, but I want to make the border a little bit thicker. So let's try 8-point is a little heavy, so let's try a 4-point. And I think that looks pretty good. So now I have a border, I have my background image, and I want to think about other things that I don't want to change on a daily basis. So one thing is I want to put math up there. Maybe if you're teaching algebra, you want to write algebra, or if it's 7th grade math, you want to write 7th grade math up in that corner. But for just purposes for right now, I am just going to put math in that corner. So I write math, and then I go ahead and I'm going to change the text color. And let's just do red for that too, I guess. Whoops, I gotta highlight the box first. We'll change that to red. Nope, I don't want highlighter color. Let's change that back to transparent. Let's go ahead and do the text color to red. And then I want to change the font that I'm using. I like Grandstander, but I would like to make it bigger. So let's try, I don't know, 24, or we can go bigger than that. Let's try a 36. I think we can even go bigger than that. All right, there we go. And we'll just go ahead and center that. Maybe make it a little bit smaller and push it up into the corner here. And let's make it bold. There we go. I think that looks a little bit better there. So I'm just going to add math for today, and you can obviously title your class whatever class you have coming in. So the other thing I do not want to change each day are those little arrows down on the bottom that show what I would like to be turned in and what I would like to be collected for the day. On days I'm not collecting things or passing things out, I usually just put a symbol there, or you can write the word none, whichever you choose. So once again, I'm going to put an arrow there. So you go to insert here. I'm going to insert a shape, and let's insert an arrow, and just a basic one right here. We'll insert to make about the right size, but I want to rotate that. So let's rotate that 90 degrees. So this is what I want them to turn in. However, I'll make it a little bit smaller, just so it fits the space that I want. Okay, now before I color it or change it or anything, I'm gonna go ahead and make a copy of it. And I'm gonna put that right next to it, paste it on there. And then I'm going to change that one. I'm going to flip it vertically. So that one's going out. So instead of what I want coming in, that's what they are going to be collecting from me. Okay, then you can keep these, you could make them a different color. So if you go to fill color here, you can change the color of your arrow. I'll make this one blue for turning in. And maybe for the ones that collecting, you could do the same color, or I'll just make it yellow for going out. Okay, so that's what we have so far on our slide. Now, if this is all of the parts of the slide that you want to keep the same each day, then what this next step that you need to do is you need to go to File here, and you need to download this slide as a PNG image. So if I click download here, and I want to, and you can see it's downloading right there. I downloaded that whole slide and everything on the slide as one image. Now to create a new, let's create a new slide. We'll get rid of those boxes again. And once we do that, what I want to do is I want to go to background here. I want to choose the image that I want for my background. I'm going to browse through what I have. This is what I just downloaded. And I'm going to go ahead and insert that into my new slide. Now, if you remember, if I go back to my first slide where I created this, I have these all as separate components. Each one of these pieces is a separate component. But when you download it as a PNG image and then insert it as the background, look, I can't change anything. It's not a separate image. I can't click them all by themselves. So this background is going to be stationary and permanent. It's not going to change. Then each day that I come in, I can add whatever components. If you want to add a text box, for example, here about what you are going to be working on that day. Maybe you're going to be working on whole numbers, and so you text whole numbers. You can change the format to what you want. Maybe if you have a question you want them to ask, you could put that here. Or you know, you could just add anything to this. If you have a bell ringer question that you use every day, you could put your bell ringer question, but that is edit. You can edit that part of it every day, but the part that you kept the same is the background image, and that won't change. So you won't have to redo it. You won't have to delete it each day. So if you remember going back to my original example of the science slide, I had all those pieces that were the same each day, like I just did for the math slide, but now we had a couple more things to add. Now, first of all, in regards to what they need out each day, I like to have that on the slide so that when the students are walking in, the first student that I greet at the door and sits down has all that time until the last student that I greet comes through the door, they sit down and we're ready to start for the day. So I want them to be able to start preparing for what they need for class. So when they come and sit down, they know exactly what they need. Now they see this on the screen. So they only see that we're going to the lab and that they need their notebooks. But really on your slide, you could have any other pieces of you know, equipment or books that you need, and then you could just swap them out on a daily basis. So maybe the next day you have a Chromebook activity for them. So you add that Chromebook icon in there, but then they don't need their science notebook. So you take the science notebook and you add that. So they're really interchangeable, and you can just store them off of your slide for the days that you don't need those pieces of equipment or books or textbook or whatever supplies you need for the day. The other thing is you can choose to do this assignments in and out however you want to. Here I just have boxes for them. If you want to use symbols, however creative, you can just add whatever you need for the day. And then obviously that's its own little piece of information that you could add as well. The last thing I want to show you to do is kind of a neat little trick. Is you could retype the date every day, and I realize that doesn't take a whole lot of time to retype it every day, but there is a little trick that you could do at the beginning of the year that will update for you. So as you can see on your slide here, there is this little update button here. So what this does is if I click on update right now, it's going to link to a Google Sheet that I created for the date. I'm going to show you how to do that in just a second, but watch what happens when I click update here. It updates to the current date. Now, let me show you how we create that for the last thing. So once again, you need to go back to your drive, open up a Google Sheet. Now, Google Sheets can be used for a lot of different things. And I know some people like them and some people don't like them, but this is very simple what you need to do here. Number one, I just want to have a box that basically says the word date on it. So I'm going to create it a little bit bigger, and I'm just going to first of all write the word date. And then you can go ahead and create the font and the size that you want. We'll use the same font. Let's go to 18, and then I want to right align that. So I'm going to go to right align. Okay, that looks pretty good. You could change the color of the text if you want to. There's all kinds of things that you can do to make it look, to format it better and make it look the way you want. Then in the next box, what I want to do is type a very simple formula. All I want to be able to do is type the equal sign, then you write the word today, so that's the current date, and then you just need the set of parentheses. Oops, I had one extra. There we go. So just equals today, and then the set of parentheses. Now, if you look, I click away from there, look, it gives me today's date. So I want to change this as well to the correct font, the correct size. Okay, there we go. So now we have the date and it tells us the date. Highlight both of those boxes, then copy. That's all you need to do. Then go back to your slide, and we'll go on our sample slide here. And all you need to do is right click and paste. When you paste, this little pop-up menu is going to be shown. And it says it's automatically highlighted link to spreadsheet. So every time you click that update button, like I showed you on my science slide, it's going to update to today's date. So instead of having to retype that date every day, all you need to do is click that little update button and it will update to the correct date. It's a small time saver, but as teachers, we all know any time saver that we can have throughout our day really helps our day. So when you clicked paste, it'll paste it on here. And then once it's pasted on here, you can go ahead and you can move it to wherever you want. I'll just move it to the corner over here, and you can change, you know, right now it has a border on it. So if you want to take that border away, you just go ahead and let's go find borders here. Why am I not finding borders? Border color, transparent, and it will take away the border color there. So you could change the size, you can change the color, whatever you want. But when you click on this again, here it's showing you that it is linked to that spreadsheet. And if I come back tomorrow, it's going to give me that little box update like I showed you at the beginning of this section on creating that Google Sheet. So there you have it, your opening slide. The only thing required for that Google Sheet to keep that date current is just don't delete it. You don't have to open up that Google spreadsheet every day. It does not have to be opened. All you need to do is open up this slide presentation, click update, and that new date will show. Then when you come in the morning or get ready for your classes, you can manipulate whatever data or whatever information you need to change for that day, and you are all set to start your day with your kids with a new slide telling them exactly what they need to make those first few minutes of class run just a little bit more smoothly. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me here at WGTE. Otherwise, thanks for listening today.